Okay, with Memorial Day and the 4th of July coming up, kids getting out of school, and of course wedding season in full swing, many of us will be finding ourselves riding in the car for long hours over the next few months.
Our back and neck pain expert, Dr. Christopher Miller, is here with us today to share some tips about how to avoid back pain and stay comfortable on those long trips. I mean, it can be really grueling if you have to stay in the same position for hours upon hours upon hours. You probably see that quite a bit.
Well, a lot of people complain about that, how sore and stiff they get with their back because of these long trips, and it just doesn't have to be that way. So today I want to share with your viewers some tips that they can do to really be proactive and not have to deal with that kind of stress and strain on their spine.
Because sitting for a long period of time without moving around, I mean, that just really is the recipe for being very, very uncomfortable.
Right, and so a couple things that they could do. Number one, we talk about some kind of lumbar support in their lower back, and some of these cars have seats that have lumbar support in there, and maybe that's good enough, or maybe you need a little bit more. So I brought a sample lumbar support that we carry in our office over here, and it's just a nice balanced curve in the lower back, and it kind of hugs the sides of the spine right there, just to give it a little extra support, so that, you know, as you're driving, you don't start slouching and letting everything compress in your lower back. So that's a great tool that someone could try.
It almost seems like a natural thing to do, though, because you're in your seat. You don't have a lot of range of motion. I mean, really, your hands are here, your legs have to be in a certain spot too. Is it possible to have good posture and to be in a better position?
Well, you know, getting your core stronger and in shape is great and very helpful, but you could have the greatest core on earth, and if you got a 12-hour trip, you know, how long are you going to keep everything tight and in good posture? So the other thing that really helps is maybe use something like this seat wedge, and I think I'll put that over here and replace that one with this, because this is a little bit of a different approach. And again, some cars you can tilt the seat this way, other times you just have to use a wedge like this. But you see it's much higher in the back, and it's sloped and tapered down in the front. And when you sit on that, it tilts your hips in more of a neutral position and takes a lot of pressure off of those discs. So if you have disc problems like the herniated or bulging discs, this is a great tool to help alleviate pressure on those discs so you can make those long trips.
And you sell those, right? You can just walk in your office and buy one of those?
Absolutely. So if, you know, like I said, your car doesn't work that way, you can purchase something like these, and they're not too expensive.
I'll confess, I have way worse posture when I'm not the driver. So some of these tools might be good to have in the passenger seat too,
Absolutely.
Huh? All right. Now for the drivers, especially for men, you know, I know my husband, the big thick wallet, you're typically having it right in your back pocket. Is that the
That's
good place
a no-no.
Okay.
You know, a couple weeks ago we talked about women with the high heels. This is the same thing for men. They got these thick wallets, you know, an inch or two thick, and if you got that in the back pocket and you're sitting on that day after day or for these long trips, that really causes a misalignment with the hips and lower back and can put stress on that and irritate the nerves. So make sure you get those wallets out of the back pocket, set it on your dash or something like that, and you're going to be much better off.
Yeah, I would just think being uneven like that. Something we don't think about, something small, but a little fix we can make.
Exactly.
Also, a lot of the cars now have the technology to use things like the heaters. And that seems something small too, but it's something that can be helpful.
It can just help keep your back and your muscles a little bit looser so you don't get so stiff, but it's something you probably shouldn't just have that heater cooking away on your back for the full 12 hours.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to get inflammation around the nerves, and that can actually bring upon some pain. You know, you might want to use it in increments of like 10 minutes here and there just to keep kind of loose through the trip.
Okay, anything else that we can do beyond that? When we're, you know, we have a 10, 12-hour trip, we just really want to get there as quickly as possible.
I know people don't want to take a lot of breaks, but you're going to be far better off in the long run if you do take some breaks here and there, and make use of that break as quickly as you can so you can get back on the road. But do a little bit of stretching. If you can get out and walk, maybe even if you're in condition enough, you can do a quick jog or a run and just get that heart rate and blood pumping a little bit and get back in the car. You're going to feel much better. If you're a passenger and you're suffering and your driver just is not going to stop, you can do some basic things like maybe lean back and just do some knee pulls to your chest. You know, you can just specifically really stretch side to side. That would be a good one. And, you know, just get those shoulders moving, do some rolls there, and just work those muscles out a little bit instead of just sitting in that posture with gravity pulling, you know, so many hours on end.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to help with those breaks, you recommend, I know, drinking a lot of water, staying away from caffeine and some of those other drinks that we tend to get on drive-thrus and things like that. You have a great special right now. Why don't you tell us about what people can do if they want to learn a little bit more about how you can help them?
Well, these are always things that we teach patients in their specific situation, what they can do to be proactive. But, you know, if you go on a trip and you just find you've destroyed your back, you're in a lot of pain, we are offering a $39 special to come in, meet with me for a consultation, and then we'll get an exam done and see what the problem is. And then we also have this special for the first aid callers. They'll get a free visit or session on our hydrotherapy massage bed. So it'll be a nice way to loosen up and feel better after the trip.
Oh, we always love having you here because you offer some just great tips for us, for those of us who may not already suffer from back and neck pain, to really help us take as good a care of our spines as we possibly can.
Well, I hope it helps for the holidays coming up.
Thanks. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me again.
We'll be right back.
This is 8 West.